Before we begin, I want to offer you something simple. My entire life, through science, through career, through geography, has always pointed me outward. But the journey that has shaped me more deeply was never out there, it was inward, into the quiet, unseen, interior world that each of us carry, but so rarely explores. This first talk is the beginning of that journey. Not a lecture, not an argument, not a philosophy, simply an honest exploration of the one place we overlook most easily, the inner world, the place where our deepest questions arise and where every answer worth finding begins. If something in your life has ever pulled you inward, if you've ever felt that quiet sense that there must be more to who you are than your roles, your past, or even your thoughts, then you are exactly where you need to be. This is talk one. This is where the path opens. This is where the remembering begins. Let's begin. What has always pulled me has never been the external world, not the structures we build, not the systems we work within, not even the identities we think that define us. It has always been the inner terrain, the mysterious, luminous, and sometimes unsettling world that lives within each of us. That inner world continues to raise questions I cannot ignore. It continues to draw me inward, and that is why I created this series of 11 talks, not as a scholar, not as a philosopher, but simply as someone trying to make sense of that quiet force that keeps inviting me beneath the surface of ordinary life. I want to understand the architecture of the human experience. Free will, consciousness, enlightenment, the relationship between the human spirit and the soul, instinct and intuition, suffering, the extraordinary brilliance of the mind, but also its limitations, and the illusions it so effortlessly creates. And beneath every one of these questions lies an even deeper one. What is real and what is not? Why are we here at all? And is there a deeper purpose quietly unfolding through the ordinary lives we live? Over time, I realized that if these questions were going to make sense to me, I needed a framework, a way of seeing that allowed the pieces to come together. The only framework that made sense was to look at our physical experience almost as a kind of virtual reality. Not because the physical world is unreal, not because our struggles or our joys are illusions, but because this life is temporary. It is a lived experience that feels complete until we begin to look beneath it. Through that lens, something becomes clear. There is an inversion in how we understand our lives. What we place at the top, the physical, the external, the measurable, may actually belong much closer to the bottom. And what we usually place at the bottom, the inner world, the unseen, the quiet, the timeless, may in fact be the foundation, the source, the place where meaning lives. When that inversion begins to reveal itself, something remarkable happens. Questions that once felt scattered begin to align. Pieces that never seemed to fit begin to fall into place. And the path inward, the path that each of us quietly carries within, becomes easier to recognize. This entire series is simply my attempt to share that journey. Not answers, not conclusions, just the unfolding exploration of someone who spent much of his life looking outward, only to discover that everything he was searching for had been quietly waiting on the inside. And if you've ever felt that same gentle pull inward, that persistent sense that there is more to your experience than the world around you seems to explain, then perhaps these conversations will speak to something in you as well. Because the inner world is not a place we invent, it is a place we remember. And this is where the remembering begins.